Now speaking, Daniel Briggs, Senior Vice President, Investor Relations. Thank you for joining us today. Rob Goldstein, our Chairman and CEO, Patrick Dumont, our President and COO, Dr. Wilfred Wong, the President of Sands China, and Grant Chum, EVP of Asia Operations and COO of Sands China are all on the call today. We will be discussing forward-looking statements and non-GAAP measures. During the Q&A session, we ask those with interest to please pose one question and one follow-up, so we might allow everyone with interest the opportunity to participate. An earnings presentation has been posted on our website and we may refer to it during the call. Now speaking, Rob Goldstein, Chairman and Chief Executive Officer. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We are pleased to report that the recovery in Macau and Singapore is evident in our results. We have a structural advantage in Macau due to our scale, and we are investing in both markets for future growth. In Singapore, we are currently undergoing a $1 billion renovation, which has had an adverse effect on our results. Additionally, the Chinese premium mass segment has yet to return to pre-pandemic levels. Despite these impediments, Singapore continues to perform well. We are also pleased to announce that cash flow recovery is in full bloom, and we are looking for DA dividends. J.P. Morgan Chase & Company analyst Joe Greff inquired, "What is your outlook on margins in Macau going forward, and how do you expect incremental revenue growth to flow through?" Rob Goldstein replied, "Joe, our June results were very strong, with $200 million of EBITDA. Visitation increases in Macau are driving GGR growth, and we believe we will benefit from our scale and the $15 million investment we made. We have capacity in gaming and non-gaming, so as GGR increases, we expect to be a major beneficiary. Our margin outlook is positive, and we are confident that our investments will pay off." Grant Chum replied, "Joe, our margins have continued to improve as we grow revenues on an optimal cost structure. Normalized margins were up 240 basis points quarter on quarter. We have a more profitable business mix than in 2019, with 87% of GGR in mass versus 71% in Q2 of 2019, and a greater proportion of non-gaming revenue, which rose from 17% in 2019 to 22% this quarter. We've also increased our hotel room operating capacity back to 10,700 rooms on average for the quarter, and are heading back to 12,000 rooms in the summer. In June, our mass revenue was 97% of 2019 levels, with underlying visitation recovering to almost 70% of 2019. Slot handle was up 9%, and rolling volumes up 10%. All of these factors have contributed to our improved margins." Rob Goldstein replied, "Joe, as you can see on page 14 of the deck, we are still in the early stages of recovery. We believe that this summer will bring us closer to pre-pandemic visitation numbers, both in Guangdong and non-Guangdong provinces. This will be beneficial for our business, as we have capacity in both gaming and non-gaming areas. We anticipate that this will have a positive impact on our margins and our online presence. However, 6 months into the recovery, we are still far behind in terms of visitation." J.P. Morgan Chase & Company analyst Joe Greff inquired, "How do you reconcile the disconnect between China-Macao and Macau's improved metrics? How do you see that relationship playing out going forward?" Rob Goldstein replied, "We're optimistic that the Chinese economy will rebound, but we're prepared to perform even if the recovery is slower than expected. We've seen other businesses, such as LVMH, demonstrate that our sector can still grow in spite of a slower recovery. We remain hopeful for a strong rebound in China and a stronger macroeconomic environment, which would be beneficial for our business." UBS analyst Arpine Kacharian inquired, "Could you discuss the expected average spend for mass customers and how it may normalize in the back half of the year?" Grant Chum replied, "The premium mass segment has recovered faster than the base mass segment. However, the base mass segment has shown strong growth due to increasing visitation and room inventory. Spend per head is increasing in both segments, indicating high-quality and high-value tourists. The company is also attracting high-value foreign tourists. Overall, the higher-value segments are growing at a faster rate, while spending per visitor is heading in a positive direction in both premium mass and base mass segments." UBS analyst Arpine Kacharian inquired, "Could you provide an update on your capital return strategy and how you think about buybacks?" Patrick Dumont replied, "We view capital allocation as an opportunity for big growth in Macau and Singapore, and we plan to invest in non-gaming amenities to drive cash flow. We have a history of being shareholder-friendly and are focused on returning capital. We plan to have a balanced program between share repurchases and dividends, which will give us the flexibility to repurchase more shares over time and address our capital expenditure needs. We will allocate capital to growth opportunities and maintain the dividend as a cornerstone of our program, while allowing for more programmatic share repurchases to shrink the share count." Deutsche Bank analyst Carlos Santarelli inquired, "Have you seen any changes in mass reinvestment levels across the market since the market shifted in the last couple of quarters became more normalized?" Grant Chum replied, "Sure, the competitive environment is stable. All operators are investing in non-gaming and events programming, which is driving business levels and visitation. Reinvestment is similar to recent quarters, with rational behavior among operators. The focus of the industry has been on non-gaming programming, which has been a major driver of recovery. Deutsche Bank analyst Carlo Santarelli inquired, "What is the timeline and budget for the expansion at Marina Bay Sands?" Patrick Dumont replied, "We have a very positive outlook for Singapore's future. Our quarter's results, visitation, and customer base all point to this. Additionally, the unique economic environment in Southeast Asia is favorable for our expansion plans at Marina Bay Sands. We are currently in discussions with the government to finalize our project, taking into account changes in the market, the government's goals, and our own growth objectives. We anticipate having a better understanding of the project in the upcoming quarters and look forward to getting started." Morgan Stanley analyst Stephen Grambling inquired, "What is the expected $200 million number in Macau given normal seasonality and base mass recovery?" Rob Goldstein replied, "The June results of $2.4 billion demonstrate the strength of Macau's recovery and our position to benefit from it. We have the capacity, products, and services to meet the needs of customers, making us competitive in the market. We are confident that visitation will continue to increase, particularly in the base mass segment, and that this will lead to greater GGR. This summer will be a great indicator of how quickly the market can return to pre-pandemic levels. We are well positioned to take advantage of the growth with our open rooms, retail, slots, and tables." Morgan Stanley analyst Stephen Grambling inquired, "Can you provide clarity on the June performance and whether it was driven by one-time benefits?" Patrick Dumont replied, "The key takeaway is that our non-gaming programs, such as entertainment and other activations, have been successful pre-pandemic and are now being restarted. Visitation of high-value customers has increased, and air traffic to Macau and Hong Kong is around 50% of pre-pandemic levels. We believe we can grow from this number materially, as more premium mass customers show up and more hotel rooms come online. We've invested in high-quality product and the customer response has been strong, allowing us to price through it. We anticipate that activating our non-gaming activities will draw more customers to concerts and other events, increasing the desirability of a visitation account." Grant Chum replied, "Thanks, Patrick. We have a long history of hosting world-class entertainment events at the Venetian Cotai Arena, including Jackie Chung's performances in 2017 and 2018. This June was special as Jackie played a record-breaking 12 shows across 4 weekends, making Macau the first stop of his global tour. This is a testament to Macau's rising destination appeal and our successful partnership with Jackie and his team. The month was strong due to improving visitation, hotel availability, transportation, and the concert series. This programming, done by the whole industry, will help Macau continue to recover rapidly and is a great start to the new concession." Bank of America Merrill Lynch analyst Sean Kelly inquired, "Grant, what is the current room complement and what does it imply for necessary headcount or cost ramp-up going forward?" Grant Chum replied, "Thanks, Sean. During the quarter, our operable capacity averaged around 10,700 rooms a day from a labor standpoint. We increased further towards the end of the quarter and are now roughly at 12,000 rooms, plus or minus a few for regular maintenance. We are now back at full inventory and ready for the peak summer season." Bank of America Merrill Lynch analyst Sean Kelly inquired, "What is the impact of renovation disruption on Marina Bay Sands margins and costs in the second half of the year?" Patrick Dumont replied, "The renovation of Marina Sands is progressing well and we are seeing strong customer response. We are in the middle of the process, however, and our 200 multi-day suites, which are our highest value rooms, will not be available until this quarter and the next. This will allow us to price better, have higher margins, and generate more cash flow from this high-value segment. Additionally, the casino floor renovation is coming to a close and airlift from China is increasing each month. As these two factors come into play, we will be able to price through cost increases and improve margin." Rob Goldstein replied, "I believe our pricing power will increase significantly when the building is complete. We are investing in labor to ensure we have a superior product that people want and are willing to pay for. This strategy will enable us to charge higher prices and increase our margins." Jefferies analyst David Katz inquired, "What is the ceiling for Macau enterprise margins in terms of a new normal, and how can we get there in the next several quarters?" Rob Goldstein replied, "Grant, I believe our structural advantage has put us in a great position to capitalize on the current market. We have a strong presence in both base and premium mass, and our investments over the past 2 decades have enabled us to grow our product and margins. I'm confident that as our revenue increases, so too will our margins." Grant Chum replied, "Thanks for the question. Our business mix and cost structure are excellent, which will help drive revenue recovery. We're already seeing strong recovery in our non-gaming segment, which is at 93% of 2019 revenues. Hotel revenues are 8% higher than 2019, and tenant sales are up 28%. We don't have a specific forecast on how high margins will rise, but these segments will be key drivers." Jefferies analyst David Katz inquired, what boundaries or accomplishments have been achieved with respect to share repurchases, and how can we think about them in a more tangible way? Patrick Dumont replied, our return to capital program has restarted this quarter, demonstrating the board and management's confidence in our long-term performance. We plan to grow our dividend over time while also having a repurchase program. We have a lot of large projects that we're considering, such as the Marina Bay Sands expansion, which we believe will be an extraordinary asset. We'll modulate our capex based on how we grow the business and use excess capital to return it to shareholders through share repurchases. We can't give an exact amount yet, but we'll continue to look at it in the upcoming quarters. Barclays analyst Brandt Montour inquired, what is the importance of the VIP segment to your plans for the next couple of years and how does your strategy compare to the broader market? Rob Goldstein replied, I'm confident that our portfolio is well-rounded and positioned for success. Venetian Macao is still the leader in the region and shows no signs of slowing down. We have a great mix of gaming and room products, with the Four Seasons enabling us to compete with anyone. The Londoner is halfway through its renovation and will be a great addition to our portfolio. We have more suites and share than any other competitor in Cotai, and our lifestyle approach with top retail and restaurants puts us at the top of the heap. We have no reason to believe we can't continue to grow both in base and premium, and I think it's unfair to say we're not premium mass players. Grant Chum replied, our strategy for VIP has not changed. We are focused on the premium direct segment and have a strong sales network in Asia. We are seeing great success in bringing foreign top-tier players to Macau, with rolling volumes already back to 2019 levels in the second quarter. We are intensifying our efforts to bring more foreign patrons to Macau, leveraging our great product and destination. Barclays analyst Brandt Montour inquired, what return targets have you set for the Londoner Phase 2 project, and is the new hotel tower at the Venetian included in the $3.5 billion capex commitment? Patrick Dumont replied, we took Singapore expansion off the table until we have a finalized program and government approval. The Londoner Phase 1 was built during the pandemic and has been well received by the market. We're now rolling into Phase 2, which we believe has the potential to be as successful as the Venetian. Our focus is on delivering against our concession renewal requirements and investing in non-gaming amenities to drive visitation. We cannot comment on rumors of a new hotel tower. Grant Chum replied, Patrick covered the success of the Londoner very well. We have undertaken a wholesale reinvention of the property's positioning, branding and functionality. It is easy to forget that most of the hotel room accommodation today is still the original Sands Cotai Central rooms. Phase 2 is about making Londoner more Londoner by repositioning and upgrading Sheraton and Conrad hotels, as well as a comprehensive upgrade of the Pacific Casino on the Sheraton side. We will also be adding more non-gaming amenities and attractions, such as signature restaurants with international appeal, a state-of-the-art wellness center and other lifestyle attractions. In the longer term, we are committed to developing a new garden-themed attraction, the Conservatory, located in the gardens south of the Londoner Resort. We have been working on the design during the pandemic and, with the market recovery and return of visitation, we are now able to start construction in the second half of this year. Stifel Financial Corp analyst Steve Wieczynski inquired, what factors are influencing the recovery of visitation trends in China below pre-COVID levels? Patrick Dumont replied, I'm thrilled to see the visitation come back to Macau and the great energy and electricity in the city. We're seeing a mix of returning patrons and new customers, which is a positive sign. We believe there's still a lot of potential for growth, as evidenced by slide 15, which shows the visitation for 2019 compared to this last quarter. We have the capacity to accommodate these customers and offer interesting non-gaming amenities, entertainment, and international visitors. We're confident that Macau will continue to be the most important tourism market in the region and our team is working hard to capture that potential. Grant, do you have any additional remarks? Grant Chum replied, the recovery rate in the eastern China, Yangtze River Delta region, especially Shanghai and Zhejiang province, is higher than Guangdong. In the first quarter, the recovery rate was less than 30%, but now it's approaching 50%. Non-Guangdong visitation grew in the high 40s sequentially in the second quarter. As lift and transportation improve, and hotel room availability increases, we expect further recovery in visitation outside of Guangdong province in the third quarter. Rob Goldstein replied, the trajectory of the market may be uncertain, but the end result is clear, it will recover. We don't know when exactly, but I'm hopeful that this summer will show some strong evidence of a recovery. July could be the best month of the year so far, and that could be the start of the recovery. Wells Fargo securities analyst Dan Politzer inquired, is there any reason other than airlift capacity that could affect the normal seasonality of the momentum seen in June? Rob Goldstein replied, I'm optimistic that this summer will be a strong indicator of recovery in the market. We've seen a remarkable turnaround in the past 6 months, with $200 million in revenue in June alone. We're confident that Macau will be a major source of growth and success for us in the long term. We look forward to sharing more positive news with you soon. Wells Fargo securities analyst Dan Politzer inquired, what progress has been made on the digital strategy and how does it reconcile with regulatory concerns in Macau? Patrick Dumont replied, I can confirm that we are investing in ground-up digital activities and building our own initiatives. We are confident that these initiatives have long-term potential, but it is still early days. Our focus is on highly regulated markets such as Europe and North America, and we are committed to maintaining our regulatory standards and being selective with our partners. Patrick Dumont replied, our view is that digital initiatives have potential for long-term success. We are committed to investing in these initiatives and focusing on highly regulated markets.